Hi, my name is Tracy Perkins, and welcome to a special edition of Choices. I'm here today with Nancy Vincent, who is the General Campaign Chair for the Monadnock United Way, and she's here to talk to us about the campaign. So let's get right into it, Nancy. What is your goal for this year?
We're seeking to raise just under $2.3 million that will provide the funding needed by 49 agencies to provide their services throughout the region.
What is the theme of this year's campaign?
The theme of this year's campaign is, and the winner is all of us. And that means it's the donors, the volunteers, the agencies, and the recipients. And I just think that theme says it all in terms of how important these services are to this community. And at any given time, a donor may also be a recipient, a volunteer may also be a recipient. So it is what makes this region special.
My name is Dee Banish, and I work at Markham Amage as paralegal. I am the mother of twin daughters, Jordan and Taylor, and I wanted to share my story with you. Jordan and Taylor are my miracle children. At about 6 months into the pregnancy, I started having trouble with one of the babies, so we had to have an emergency C-section. They were born 2 pounds and 4 pounds, and it was an extremely scary time. The children ended up staying in the hospital for 2 months. Finally, we brought them home from the hospital, and I remember that morning that Taylor was 3 pounds that morning when I brought her home, and she was just so tiny. And I thought, God, what am I going to do with these little bitty babies? I'm alone, and now I have these children to take care of. And so it was a very stressful time. It was very scary and exciting and wonderful all at the same time. Home health care in Keene came and visited us and took very good care of us. They weighed the babies. They made sure that they were growing properly, that their brains were developing, and they gave me a lot of information. They took care of me as well. And it was about that time that they introduced me to Rise for Baby and Family.
I'm Toni Ellsworth. I'm the director of Rise for Baby and Family. I've been with Rise for 29 years. We believe that parents are experts on their own children, and we want to work with them to discover a child's strengths and find the best ways for that child to have the best outcome that they can have. Most of our services happen in families' homes, and that becomes an important relationship where someone comes to your home on a weekly basis and brings toys in, looks like play to children, feels like play to adults, and yet we're all learning at the same time. And so really it's that partnership that our staff bring expertise, whether it's in the area of child development or physical therapy or speech therapy, but bring in that to add to the expertise that parents already have about their individual children.
They came and did a lot of testing on the girls to make sure that they were developing properly. They had 6 or 7 levels of tests that they did, from motor skills to cognitive skills, and I hadn't really thought so much about that yet, but they did find that they were behind in their developmental issues, and they gave me a lot of education, a lot of support. They taught me everything that they knew, and it was mostly done through play. And it was just a very fascinating time because I felt so helpless as a mother at that moment, and this was something that I could do to help them grow and develop properly. Now the girls are just turned 10, and they're growing, they're beautiful, they're full of life, and the personal relationship that I had with these people was just phenomenal, and I'll just never be able to thank them enough for that gift, because it really was truly a gift. And I still will always in my heart thank Rise for that wonderful gift that they gave me.
We are so grateful to United Way. United Way has been a strong supporter of Rise for Baby and Family for almost since our beginning.
Nancy, why is the United Way so important to you?
When I came to Keene in 1986, I immediately got involved in United Way because I realized it was so important to the community. I had been a United Way donor at all my previous jobs, but up here, it's so up close and personal. You know the people and your neighbors. You know who needs help. You know the agencies, and you know the people giving the help. And so, it just was very easy to immediately volunteer for the United Way, and I have, in some capacity, ever since volunteered for the United Way. I believe that network of services is just essential for a community. It's having those services ready when somebody needs them, when anybody needs it, when we all need it at some point in our life. So that's why I feel passionate about working as hard as I can. And there's hundreds, literally hundreds of volunteers who put in just as much time on this campaign as I do.
I'm Heidi Gouget. I'm a resident of Swansea, New Hampshire, and an employee at the Savings Bank of Walpole. For the last 20 years, I've also been a contributor and a volunteer for the United Way. From working internally on employee campaigns, to participating in Days of Caring, to chairing a division of other volunteers, I have seen firsthand how contributions to the United Way can help the people who use the programs and the services provided. I think what I've learned in the last 20 years is that we often, as people, become complacent. We take for granted those programs and services that are available, often because we don't need them. And then when we do, we're so grateful that they're there. As part of my campaigning, I've often told donors, potential and current donors, that they don't know who they're helping. It might be a stranger, it might be a friend, a coworker, a neighbor. I've even gone so far to say that perhaps they've used a service or might one day need to. What I didn't do is really take my words and apply them to myself and my family. About a year ago, my youngest daughter became very suddenly seriously ill. And after spending a week at Children's Hospital at Dartmouth, we were able to come home, but she had to be on intravenous antibiotic therapy. I went from United Way contributor to United Way recipient, from HCS volunteer to the parent of an HCS patient, all in a matter of days. When we came home, a visiting nurse came to the house, initially to help us to make sure we were comfortable with the administration of Taryn's medicine. And I can remember thinking, what if this service wasn't there? We're all part of a community, the Monadnock region. We live here, we work here, and we rely on others, whether we know it or not.
Anyone, given the right set of circumstances, could need help.
With the United Way funding, these agencies are there, they're ready to help.